Hi, everyone. Welcome to Grab Your Keys. We have a very special friend of mine and peer and someone who I've admired for over a decade now. He is truly one of the best people in the mortgage industry. David Kittle is joining us today. So, David, welcome to Grab Your Keys.
Thanks, Sue. I'm glad to be here. It's good to see you.
Great seeing you too. You have done so much for the mortgage industry. You are definitely a leader. You've been the chairman of the Mortgage Bankers Association. You're a founder of the Mortgage Collaborative. You're constantly involved in this marketplace. How do you feel about being in decades and decades and seeing the change of the mortgage industry from the time you started to now? I mean, I've been in it myself for 30 years, so I feel like decades and decades go really fast.
Well, has gone fast. This is my, 47th year in the business. This is the seventh major correction that I've seen. They're all the same and they're all different. I think we are way too focused right now on rising and up and down interest rates. I come from 18.5% when I originated loans. The pushback I get from that is, well, houses were only $35,000. True, incomes were only $18,000.
True.
It's all relative as you go through it. We have rates falling right now. They've fallen 125, 150 basis points. The rates we're at today were horrible 6 and 7 weeks ago. And now everybody embraces them. And my point in saying that is you can't worry what the rates are. You have to go out and sell every day. And there are benefits, not a lot, but there are benefits to higher rates. You know, if you're sitting talking to a borrower, your house is going to appreciate more. You have a larger interest rate deduction. That's the type of conversation you need to have with the borrower when they get skittish about higher interest rates.
How did you get into the mortgage business, David?
Well, my whole family, my grandfather was a home builder. So was my father. And then he got in the title business for 35 years. And when I started in actual banking, I wanted to get on the mortgage side and attended the regular monthly meeting of the Mortgage Bankers Association of Louisville and met my father's friend, Don Cameron. And he was branch manager for American Fletcher Mortgage, which became Bank One. And on the spot offered me a job. And from there, here I am.
Yeah, so you were the chairman of the Mortgage Bankers Association in 2009,
Correct.
if I'm not mistaken. And in 2009, that was a pretty crazy time.
The
I
meltdown.
mean, just a little crazy, volatile. People were leaving the mortgage industry in droves, somewhat like you see today. There's a lot of correlation, but a lot of not correlation between 2009 and now. Number one, why did you feel it was important to be chairman of the Mortgage Bankers Association? And number two, how important is it to be involved if you are a mortgage banker on a national level?
Well, that's a great question. Let me take it back a little bit. I never, I've owned 7 companies in the mortgage business over the years and done it with partners. Never did it saying that I wanted to be president. Let's just go open something, see how it works. I was president of the Louisville MBA, the MBA of Kentucky, and of course, MBA in DC. Not one of those times, especially MBA in DC, did I ever say I wanted to be president? I was asked. My first day on the job, my father told me involvement in one's industry is the key to success. This is now and always will be a relationship business. He was right in the 70s, and he would be right today if he was still with us. It's
Right.
all about relationships, and I love it.
It is all about relationships. What do you feel your 3 keys to success have been and are?
Well, the most important thing was I followed through. I communicated well with my customers and my clients. Back then, you had to go out and make the sales calls all day long. When I started, I mean, my goodness, we didn't even have fax machines. So if you think about that, it took 2 weeks to get a credit report. We didn't have a DE underwriter. You had to take your loans down to FHA or VA, and we closed our loans in 30 days.
Right.
We had less fraud then. We have all this technology today that is great, but it doesn't integrate and talk to each other well. And it's taking, I don't know what the average is. I think it's well above 30 days, 36, 37 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. We ought to be able to take a borrower, especially on a refinance, that we know still has a job and reducing their rate, and close it in 4 or 5 days.
I agree.
I don't know why we can't. And it's strictly the regulation inside the industry.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. So would following through, communicate, and what would the third one be?
My relationships.
Your relationships.
Yeah. I mean, I became friends with my realtors and my builders. It did not hurt me to have my father in the title business. And he was a member of the home builders, or my grandfather was a member of the home builders. So I had a name presence in my town, but I had to follow through and had to do my own loans. So you can get your foot in the door, but you still have to deliver.
Absolutely. You are the co-founder and partner, one of the partners of the Mortgage Collaborative. Can you tell everybody a little bit about what the Mortgage Collaborative is?
Sure. I'm now, my board asked me to step in as CEO. So I've been CEO for the last 6 months. We've hired a new president and chief operating officer, Melissa Langdale, who's just doing a fabulous job for
She
us.
is.
She really is.
She's been on Grab Your Keys.
That's right. She is. We started it. It's going to be 11 years old in May at Secondary. And we felt there was a space for it. The most important thing we have inside TMC is obviously our lender members and our preferred partners, but it's the culture and it's the way our staff gets along and delivers for our members.
Right.
Our members find real value inside the collaborative. And so it's continued to grow. We've added, I think this is the right number, in the last 3 months in this market, 9 new members.
Yeah. It provides tremendous value for mortgage peer-to-peer work, and seeing and understanding and being in a forum, a comfortable forum that people can collaborate and talk to each other and find out what's working some places and what's not working other places. I mean, I truly believe that there's a tremendous value in what the Mortgage Collaborative is and has been over the last 13 years.
Well, Sue, and I would be remiss if I didn't say when we started, you agreed and served on our board for 5 years, and that was a big step for us. We had Regina Lowry, we had Deb Still. So we started out, we were very diverse, even 11 years ago.
Well, I remember 11 years ago, my first board meeting actually of the Mortgage Collaborative, and I left and I forget who I called. And I said, I just don't belong here. There is no way that I belong with this group of amazing people. But what I do know is by being on that board for 5 years and listening and understanding and hearing everyone, I learned a tremendous amount. And it allowed Centennial Lending Group to be better, allowed me to be a better leader and person. And I think that anyone who's not in the Mortgage Collaborative is not doing a justice for their company, because I merged companies with another member because I was at the conference and we were like-minded individuals and there was a need for both of us and we're stronger together. And that would not have been possible if it wasn't for the Mortgage Collaborative. So I love that about I love that about the Mortgage Collaborative. So what you started and founded is so needed, especially in the more difficult times. And the friends that people make are lifelong friends.
They are. I mean, John Robbins is one of my partners,
Yes.
former chairman of NBA. Jim Park, CEO of ARIA. Jim has worked at Freddie Mac, and he has a great reputation in the business.
He does.
So, we wouldn't be here today without Jim, John, and people like yourself. And just to mention Regina's name again, because I really miss her.
Yes, I agree. Regina was totally a pioneer, especially a pioneer for Regina Lowry, who's we're talking about. It was a pioneer for women in the mortgage industry. And I learned a tremendous amount from her. And I didn't know, we were from the same area and knew each other, but really became super close while we were on the board of the Mortgage Collaborative. We would be flying to different places, always on the same plane. And, I always knew if I went to Admiral's Club, I'd see Regina with a mimosa in her hand or a Bloody Mary, and I could join her and we would have lots of fun together. So that's what the mortgage industry is really about. So, following through, communicating, but those relationships, not only with your clients and your customers, but your peers in the mortgage industry, you can learn so much from each other. And as I said, I learned so much. I do learn every day. And Melissa is off the charts amazing. I think she's a great person to.
Can I add something? Really, the success I had, which got me to the different levels. You start as a loan officer, and I was a loan officer 6 years to the day. Was a support staff behind me. I mean, my loan processor, her name was Lynn Hugh, and Lynn was just fabulous. And she kept me in line, and I learned my loans went a lot better if I brought her a clean file with all the documentation.
That is so important. The cleaner you bring in a file, the smoother it goes through, because and the cleaner you can give a narrative of what's going on. That is so super true. So true. If you weren't in the mortgage industry, what would you do? I know what you're going to say, but everybody else doesn't. But what would you do?
I'd be a pilot.
Right.
I've been a pilot for 40 years, but it would have been nice to fly professionally. But this came along, and once you get in it, as you know, you can't get out of it. So,
yeah, your eyes get so bright when you see, a plane going by and you know exactly what it is. You'll be like, that's a blah, 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 blah. Good.
Yeah, I sit here with a bunch of little models in my office too. So,
I love that. Who does David Kittle admire?
John Corson.
Who's John Corson?
John Corson was the 2003 chairman of NBA. And I met John when I was a branch manager at Colwell Financial here in Louisville. And Colwell was purchased by Southmark Mortgage out of Texas. John was president. And we became lifelong friends. Our families became friends. They were like grandparents, he and Marcia, to my kids. And still see John, he and Marcia retired in Phoenix.
That's great.
So John he was my mentor. No more respect. I respect a lot of people in the business, but John's at the top of the list.
How important do you think it is to have a mentor?
I think it is one of the most important things you're going to have in any career. And a good one, obviously, that has the experience and it's going to teach you all the right ways. And I think a good mentor allows that person to fail and see their mistakes and is there to catch them when it happens, to make mistakes in whatever process. And, John did that, but he was always did it with a firm but gentle hand.
Yeah, I love that. And you are a certified mortgage banker, a CMB. You gave me my PIN just a few maybe a month ago, actually 2 months ago, which I treasure. I hadn't had one for years. So thank you. How important do you think it is to be a certified mortgage banker? There's not it's not a select group, but it's a small group compared to how many mortgage people there is. I think it's only one, maybe 10% of the mortgage individuals that are licensed. So,
I look at the CMB as my PhD.
mhm,
Okay. It's the top of the line. Even after I got this, I just finished sponsoring Nikki Krakowski, who's
mhm,
with Arch, and she's my ninth person that I've sponsored for the CMB. I think it's very important.
me
And
too.
people walk up to me and they talk about it, and I just go, "If you need a sponsor, let me know." And they go, "You're kidding?" And I go, "No." So I'm happy to help people, and you have to be willing. I admire anybody in this industry who gives back at any level. You don't have to be chairman. Get on a committee. Make sure you're a member of MAW and MORPAC. Stroke
For
a check for the PAC. Get involved in advocacy, because that's what MBA is. They're an advocacy group. Give back in some shape or form to an industry that will give you a lot if you do.
Right. And as you're saying this, I'm going to make sure that if anyone's listening, we're going to put the links to those different organizations below, because I feel that they're so important in this holiday season that we're in. I think it's great to give back, especially if you're in the mortgage business. The amount of uh, gratefulness that we all should have for the lives that we have, and that we're able to give people the gift of home ownership and building wealth is such a gift that we have, that we kind of all have fallen into. And I believe it's just a stroke of luck. I mean, it's when hard work and opportunity meet too, but it is a stroke of luck that we all get to have the jobs. And it is, you have to go to the gym, you have to work out, you get what you get what you get. So I think that that's so important.
Yeah,
What
I don't know anybody that grew up and went to school saying, "I'm going to be a mortgage banker."
No,
You fall into it, and it's a great place to fall.
it is a great place to fall, especially when we get to meet fantastic people like you.
Okay.
What's in the future for David Kittle?
Well, to continue to grow TMC, I'm going to be 68 in March. We'll see how much longer I stay actually in a leadership role inside TMC. I told the board I'd do it until I'm 70, and then we'll take a look at it then. And so I'm just going to continue to grow the Mortgage Collaborative as much as I can, and give back in any way I can that I'm asked.
Well, that's great, and I love the way that you give back, and you've given a tremendous amount. And the mortgage industry is lucky to have you, David, and I'm lucky to have you as a friend. I don't get to see you as much as I like to, but literally, as soon as I see your face, I know I have a friend. So,
So I'm your friend and you're mine, and I love being on here. So thank you for having me.
so
Merry Christmas, by the way.
Merry Christmas. And everyone, if you want to join any of the below links, please link on them. And we have some great people and guests coming on throughout the rest of the year and into 2024. So if you can, remember to grab your keys, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Thank you.